Hi everyone, my name is Ron. Welcome to the OpenLMIS demo videos. This is the fifth in our series. In this video we're going to take a closer look at OpenLMIS's processes for authorizing and approving requisitions. OpenLMIS uses a two-step process for fully approving requisitions, the first of which is called authorizing the requisition. That typically takes place at the facility where the requisition initiated. In our last video we saw a scenario where a clinician created a requisition for the malaria program, and they also had the rights to authorize that requisition. Once a requisition is authorized, it leaves the facility and is put in the work queue of a program specialist or supervisor who is responsible for reviewing and approving requisitions. In this demo, we're going to start with a scenario where a clinician creates and submits a requisition for the ART program. However, a different person, we'll assume a facility manager, has the responsibility for reviewing and authorizing all requisitions submitted at that facility. Although I'm currently logged in as super user, for this next step, let's presume that I am in the role of the facility manager who's responsible for authorizing requisitions created at my facility. Once that ART requisition was submitted by the clinician, the system notifies me that there's work queued up and I have a requisition waiting to be authorized. So we'll go in and select the ART program, and I see here that there is a requisition that has been submitted waiting for me to review. As somebody who works at the same facility, I have the option of reviewing and editing any of the numbers originally submitted by the clinician in case something needs to be corrected. I may go down the hall and ask for clarification on some of these numbers, but everything looks good here. What I do notice though is that this particular requisition is significantly over the allocated budget. I'm not going to reduce the amount of any of these ARTs as they are potentially life and death medications, but let's take a closer look at what the clinician is requesting in terms of non-full supply products. I see here they have requested a substantial amount of antibiotics. I'm going to adjust that number slightly to bring the total cost of this requisition a bit closer in line with the allocated budget. I'll save that adjustment. And at this point, I'm ready to authorize the requisition. The system asks me to confirm this step. Once that's done, the requisition now leaves the facility and is put in the workflow pipeline of a program manager or a specialist who's responsible for reviewing and approving requisitions. I'm still logged in as super user, but let's change our hats now and take on the role of this supervisor or program manager who's responsible for reviewing and approving requisitions. So let's go to Requisitions Approve. I see here there are two requisitions that are queued up for my review and approval. The malaria one that was submitted in our last demo video by the clinician responsible for the malaria program, and the ART one that the facility manager just reviewed and authorized. Let's take a look at the malaria requisition. As a program manager who is not necessarily working at the facility, I am not allowed to go in and edit the data submitted by that facility. My responsibility is to review the quantities that the system has calculated as the ideal replenishment amounts and approve those or adjust them as I see necessary. By default, the system pre-populates the approved quantities with the calculated values, but I can see here that the clinician who created this requisition is requesting a different amount, 2,400. Their explanation looks very reasonable, so I am going to go ahead and adjust that amount to 2,400. I see here that they did not request a different amount for the rapid diagnostic test kits, but because the rainy season is coming, I'm going to up that quantity so that they'll be prepared. I notice the system is saying zero quantity for the quinine capsules. At first that seems puzzling, but then when I look at the their stock currently on hand versus their current average monthly consumption, it's apparent they don't need any replenishment amount, so this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and approve this requisition. The system asks me to confirm this step. Once the requisition has been approved, it leaves my work queue list that's no longer here, you'll notice, and has advanced to the next step in the approval process. You'll recall from our earlier videos that OpenLMIS allows you to configure a review and approval process such that it can be a single step or multi-step review and approval process. In this particular scenario, for this particular program, the system is configured to just have a single review and approval process. So at this point, that malaria requisition is fully approved and ready to be released as an order to the warehouse or stocking depot that's going to fulfill that order. We'll take a closer look at that process in our next video. This concludes video number 5. Thank you for watching.